Hey, welcome in Stinkin Truth Podcast. Mark Schlereth alongside Mike Evans. Look, I even wrote Stinkin Truth back there. You see it?
Look at that.
Look at that.
Look
How
at
cute is
that.
that?
That's
a little
pretty
free
cool.
time on my hands this morning. Anyhow,
I like it.
Alongside Mike Evans, I am Mark Schlereth. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Please make sure you like and you subscribe. We would appreciate that. So how are you, Mike? It's good to talk to you, buddy.
I'm great. I'm feeling a lot better than I'm sure the 49ers and their fans are feeling right now. Mark, if you had to place the 49ers panic level at a certain number, what would it be?
Well, Mike, I think based on that division still, the Rams are beat up. The Rams aren't going anywhere. Arizona is Arizona. They have not won in Arizona back-to-back games since 2021.
The Cardinals.
The Cardinals.
Okay.
They have not won back-to-back games since 2021. What did I say? Did I say that wrong? Arizona.
No, that's right.
Arizona?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So, they are what they are, right? They're flash. You know what Arizona's like and Kyler Murray is like, and I got to be careful because I'm doing their game this weekend. But you know what they're like? They're like piping a drive 325 on the 18th. And all of a sudden you're like, damn, that felt good. Man, I'm going back tomorrow. This is awesome, right? And then the next, 7 holes you play, you're just shanking it all over the place, taking 8s. That's what the Arizona Cardinals feel like to me. They just don't have any consistency at all. So if you look at San Francisco right now, yeah, we're beat up. Yeah, we lost to Kansas City, but in that Deebo Samuel couldn't show up. He's in the hospital right now with some type of pneumonia. Yep. You look at Brandon Ayuk tore his ACL. They didn't have Juwan Jennings in that game. They couldn't run the football because the Chiefs are awesome at defending the run. I would still look at that and say, listen, we still have a great chance to win this division. Now, we've already beaten Seattle once. Seattle's got a young defense, new head coach, young head coach. Geno Smith is playing really good football right now, but we still have a chance to win this division. I think you throw away, first or second seed in the NFC, but I still think San Francisco's got a great chance to win the division. Juwan Jennings should be back. He's had a hip injury. He should be back this year or this week. I would think he'd come back this week. Deebo might be out until the bye week, but they have this game, then they have next week, and then I believe they're on a bye, and then they start up. So Dallas this week. And then I think, they've got maybe it's Dallas and then the bye, and then they come back to Tampa Bay or something like that.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
I think they've got a chance to get healthy here in the next couple of weeks.
Well, I guess the big issue is not so much their ability to win their division, just as you watch this team, Ayuk now out with the ACL.
Yeah.
Does this look like a team, especially with these now? I mean, it's an issue beating Kansas City. Do you feel like this is a team that still is on that short list of Super Bowl contenders?
Tell me, are they going to be healthy toward the end of the season? Or offensively, are they going to be healthy toward the end of the season? If you tell me they're going to be healthy toward the end of the season, then I would say, yeah, they've got a chance if they win that division to get in. I mean, I think there's no question about that. So that would be my takeaway. Right now, are they playing well enough to do that? Absolutely not. They're not playing well enough to do that right now. But if they're healthy toward the end of the season, listen, Juwan Jennings to me is one of their top, just quote unquote, football players. As a wide receiver, I think he does everything well. He'll block. He makes ridiculous catches. He does a lot of things exceptionally well. So I think Juwan Jennings will fill that role that Brandon Ayuk had. Obviously you'll get Deebo back at some point. So I think that's, Deebo will be back. He'll be healthy. Kittle and Juszczyk. This comes down, Mike, I would say this. I think it comes down here in the next couple of weeks as you're trying to survive. And Dallas is no great shakes, right? They can't defend the run or any of that stuff. But I think it really comes down to Kyle Shanahan. How do you adjust your offense? How do you create opportunities for your quarterback? And how do you create offense when your offensive structure and the players that execute that offensive structure are not available to you?
Right.
We have to watch you kind of manipulate and change and do those things. And listen, man, we always talk about these great coaches in the National Football League and how they, oh man, this guy changes offense and this guy changes this and this guy's amazing. How the Miami Dolphins look without Tua?
Mm-hmm.
How's Coach Capri Pants? How's that offense? That offense that, oh my gosh, the motions and the speed and the athleticism, and they're setting on, like, they're creating new offense, and man, they look great. What do they score? About 12 points a game without Tua? Is that what they score? So let's, like I always say, man, football and genius are mutually exclusive events. You don't play or coach in the league if you're a genius. You don't. We're a bunch of PE majors, for crying out loud, right? I always think about, how did football get invented? Well, a couple of guys, got a pizza, had some beers, got drunk, got their crayons out, and started scribbling on the pizza box. Like, what do we line up over here and we fight for this real estate? And you hit me in the head, and then I hit you back in the head, and then eventually we push the ball over the goal line. Sounds good to me. Let's do it. There's not a bunch of Mensa candidates playing this game. That's just not how it works.
Well, you mentioned Tua, you mentioned the Dolphins. Let's jump right into that one. You're going to be calling the Dolphins and Arizona this week, and it does look like Tua will not only be cleared to play, but will play. And I'm just kind of curious, because he was asked about the risks of coming back and the concussion history that he has had. And I'm sure he's had people who have told him, hey, you gotta watch out for your health. You should never play again. You've had plenty of people weighing in on what Tua should do. Tua said, hey, I have the information. I'm ready to, risk the odds, I guess, play the odds of continuing to play. Is it really up to any of us to have an opinion about what Tua should or should not do?
No, I mean, it's what he wants to do. And listen, you're a football player. You play football. You're passionate about it. They pay you handsomely to do it. And it's what you work your whole life to do. Like, I always look back at how fortunate am I. I lived out a childhood dream I had since the time I was 12. The only thing I ever wanted to be was an NFL football player. Now, did it come with sacrifice? Yeah. Did it come with pain and anguish? Yeah. Did it come, with injury and heartache and all those things? Absolutely. Like, that's part of it. That's part of the journey of being able to play. And if Tua wants to play, God bless him. And everybody will stand on the soapbox and go, well, you had knee injuries and back injuries and blah, 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 blah. You weren't dealing with head trauma. No, sure I did. I knocked myself out plenty. But the bottom line is, he knows the risk. He has talked to the experts. They have informed him of what the potential risks are. And we all live with those risks, and we all suffer some of those risks. And so the bottom line is, he looks at it from his own personal kind of agenda, his own personal perspective, and says, it's worth the risk to me.
Yeah.
I want to play. And God bless him, man. That's I don't live my life like, oh my gosh, what if this happens? And the fear of this. And, I go back to the only thing I really know is 80s music, right? And there's a line from the Psychedelic Furs, and that line says, you can never win or lose if you don't run the race. I want to find out if I'm good enough. I'm going to run the race. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I suck. Maybe I'm just not very good. But damn it, I'm gonna try, and I'm gonna run the race, and I appreciate that about Tua.
I think back to when you played. And even it wasn't that long ago that plenty of players played without really understanding what concussions were, what they could do to you, what they could mean. And we still don't know the definitive word on it, but we do know a lot more. And so as long as you're informed, as long as you have an informed decision to make, then it's your decision.
Sure.
It's your call, and there's no room for me, you, or anybody else out there. I'm sure that I saw it after the last Tua concussion. There were plenty of people who were writing articles and going on their soapbox as Tua should never play again. Well, he knows the risks, and as long as he knows the risks, then hey, that's his call. That's
100%, man. He knows what he's getting himself into, and ultimately, none of us know what the future holds, Mike. None of us do. And so, listen, man, I look forward to calling the game. I hope he stays healthy. I hope he doesn't have any more trauma. I hope he doesn't get hit in the head. I hope he doesn't have another concussion. But this is the way it is. This is the game. And all of us walk willingly one step in front of another. We all walk willingly into knowing that, hey, man, if you play this game, you're going to do irreparable damage to your body.
I'll tell you
and
what.
It's worth it to all of us.
From a football standpoint, I know you've already started looking at the film. The Dolphins with Tua, the Dolphins these last few weeks without Tua. Boy, if you want to talk about making a case for just how important Tua is and why that contract he signed might be worth it, just put the film on, right?
Yeah, his ability to throw guys, throw anticipatory throws and throw guys open and do the things that Tua does. In 3 years with Mike McDaniels, he's got the quickest snap to release time in football, about 2.5 seconds, Mike, snap to release time. So it's the quickest in football. They use more motion and shift than anybody in football. They're a timing and rhythm offense, right? They want to snap, they want to motion you, snap the ball at a certain place to get leverage on your receiver versus their DB that's coming across a formation with you, trying to cover you. They do it better than anybody else. And guess what? Without Tua, they're scoring about 12, 13 points a game, right? I mean, it's a completely different look. So they're excited to get him back. He definitely creates an opportunity for this offense to explode, this offense to have some success. And so, yeah, he's a very valuable component to what they do on the offensive side of the ball because, with Waddle and with Tyreek Hill and all the guys they have, man, they're a super, super talented football team. Now, they lost some of their offensive linemen to free agency and everything else, but they're a really talented football team, and they just need somebody at the controls that is operating this offense the way it should be operated. And it's, like I said, it's little things with rhythm and timing. Like, one thing about rhythm and timing and rhythmic offense is that when you get out of rhythm, like, it's almost impossible to get back in. Like they're not going to line up in heavy personnel and just cram it down your throat for a series or two to get themselves back in a rhythm. You're going to have a quarterback, and you're going to have receivers that catch the ball, break a tackle, make somebody miss, and get you back into that flow, back into that rhythm. And without Tua, it's been hard to watch. It's been awful.
Opening reviews for the new look New York Jets. It would appear that Aaron Rodgers made more of an impact with the footage of him picking his nose and apparently eating his boogers.
Yeah.
Which I did I did that when I was 5, but I gave that up.
Yes. It's supposed to be really good for your immune system, though.
Is it?
Yes. Yeah. Booger eating is supposed to be good for your immune system.
Better than getting immunized, then. Just eat your own booger.
Yes.
That's the secret. That's the secret. Now we know.
Yes, I'm not going to get an immunization, but I will eat my boogers to just really. Yeah, it is. It is. Hey, you know what? Some totally he had 5 picks the other night. He had threw 2 of them to the opposite team, and then he ate 3 of his boogers in those picks. So, dude, come on, dude. You think Davante Adams is going, what did I get myself into? I mean, the Jets are just where you go to die.
Wow.
Where your career goes to end, for crying out loud. I mean, they got Hassan Reddick back now. He's going to be back in the fold. They've got Davante Adams. Mike, I will tell you, I'm a huge Rodgers fan. I mean, I've been a huge fan of the way he plays the game and watching him play, the off-platform throws, his accuracy, all the things that he has done over the course of his career. I have never seen him look this inaccurate, look this incompetent, look this broken, look this disheveled. And that's the first time I've ever seen him just chowing down on boogers. So, maybe it's a nervous tick now. Like, some people chew their fingernails, some people scratch their balls. He's just eating boogers. He's just going to town.
Yeah, his body language is awful right now on the field. It's awful.
By the way, Mike, so he comes out and they ask him about the game or whatever, and they're like, what do you got to do? He took responsibility. First, I got to play better. But I think the thing we've got to do overall is quit listening to you guys.
Yeah.
Really. So it's the media's fault. Oh, by the way, doesn't the McAfee show pay you over $1 million a year to come on every Tuesday and be part of the media? Now, aren't you getting 7 figures plus to be a part of the McAfee show? To spew your whatever you spew from a media standpoint, from your media bully pulpit? Like, come on, dude. You're calling out the media. Hell, you're part of the media. You get paid more handsomely than anybody else in the media, for crying out loud. Yeah. So stop. We're just sick of it. Start to play better. Before you spout off and do whatever it is you do.
Yeah. You think I'm going to retire off this podcast?
Hey, not the way we create. Not without any sponsors, you're not.
Your name here, folks. Yeah, your name here,
right there. We'll paste your name on Mike's forehead during
plenty of room.
There's plenty of room.
We can get a lot of content, a lot of bullet points up there.
How many different sponsors do you think we could paste on your head? I would say if you broke your forehead into 4 quadrants, there would be 4 really readable quadrants on your forehead for sponsors.
Yeah. More ad signage, my forehead or a NASCAR. What do you think?
Yeah, we could get gambling site here, dude wipes, Kings,
M&M's right around here. Yeah, we're
whatever we need. Whatever we need.
This space for rent. Mark it down. Take note of that, folks. Russell Wilson supporters been coming out of the woodwork after Russ's performance Sunday night?
Yeah, where he completed 55% of his passes and his own fan base was ready to boo him out of the stadium. Sure, of course they have. Of course that's what they do. But I've been very consistent on this, Mike, and I think you'll back me up on this. I have said that if Russell would just go back to playing the way Russell did when he was a young player, which he's capable of doing, that means rely on a great defense, run the snot out of the ball, run the stuff to the outside edges, the quick passing game, and run the play pass deep ball stuff. Like, he can operate that offense and be successful in that offense. But the issue has been what? Let me cook. Let Russ cook, which was a campaign created by his own people in Seattle, right? And we have seen it. We saw it for 2 years in Denver. The Seattle Seahawks, toward the end of his career, saw it in Seattle. He can't operate that way. So him changing plays and trying to do things that he's incapable of, that's not a way that Russell Wilson's going to win. Now, to his credit, and I'll give him a ton of credit, he's always thrown a deep ball, a great deep ball. He threw a couple of great deep balls the other night. Now, some miraculous catches, or some really good catches. I shouldn't call them miraculous. The great ball placement on those throws, but also great catches in that situation. But he did it. I'll give him a ton of credit on those throws. No question, it looked like the real deal. But him boot keeping out off the run game, getting out to the edge, right? Having a kind of a linear progression to dump it off to tight ends, let them get yards after catch. All those things, he is more than capable of doing that. He throws an incredible ball, especially when he's outside the pocket. There is no question that he can do those things. Still, with that said, do I think all of a sudden the Steelers have, found their forever quarterback? And do I think he's going to be satisfied playing that style of game? Like, he hasn't been for 3 or 4 years. So why do I think all of a sudden that's going to change? I don't
think he's been humbled by the last couple of years?
I would hope that he's been humbled. I would hope so, but based upon what I saw for 2 years in Denver, I will believe it when I see it. And so, like, I've said this many, many times on this podcast and in our, on our radio show over the last 2 years of watching this kind of toxic positivity. And I'll go back to a conversation I had with him calling a game where he had mentioned in a newspaper article that he had to play better. And I pressed him on that. What exactly do you have to do better? Give me some tangible things that you have to do better. And then he started with his, well, as an offense, we have to score in the red zone. And they go, whoa, da, 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 da. And I didn't ask, well, you're not a French waiter. What, do you got a turd in your pocket? What do you have to do better? Well, we've got to, blah, blah, blah. No. Like, I asked him 3 different times. I interrupted him 3. He couldn't answer the question, what you have to do better. And so, listen, man, if that was an admission, the way he played the other night against the Jets, if that was an admission that I have to go back to doing what I did in Seattle to have success, then I'm all in. I actually found myself almost like, I found myself going, man, that was like, what a throw. That was great. Like, yeah, I have never, ever, people confuse my disappointment and my disgust with the way he played with, I hate the guy. I don't hate the guy. The guy's been nothing but gracious to me. But I hated the way he played, and I hated the way he didn't take ownership of it. Right. I hated all that because that drives me crazy.
So he's got his run now. He's got his chance. He'll get the Giants up next Monday night. So that would seem to be a good chance. They have yet to play. The Steelers have yet to play a division game. So that second half of the season is going to be a division gauntlet that they'll have to go through, which will include the Baltimore Ravens. And Mark, Lamar Jackson's a stud. He is just a genuine, verified stud right now. He's got 2 MVPs already. He's the favorite right now to win a third. I wonder, though, should he be allowed to win a third MVP, considering he has 0 playoff success?
Oh, you mean like the NBA won't let you win a third?
Well, and let's just kind of bring people in on this, because we experienced this with Nikola Jokic, and he had won 2 MVPs, and he was a clear-cut choice to win a third MVP. But there was this sense that the guardians of the game, the voters, said, hey, he's never won a title. We can't put him into this rarefied air with other 3-time MVPs because he's never won a championship. Those other guys have. And so it was held against him when clearly he was the MVP. I'm wondering if the same thing will be applied to Lamar Jackson when it comes to voting on the MVP. Until he wins the Super Bowl and he win a third MVP.
Yeah, it's a regular season award. It wasn't back to back to back. There was space. I think he won one in 2019. He won one last year. And he's on a pace to do that, right? And he is playing exceptional. I mean, just flat out exceptional football right now. And, the amazing thing is, how can he do it without any, legitimate wide receivers? I mean, the big time wide. Okay. Can we stop now? Lamar stands. I accept your apology. I know you're not going to apologize, but I accept your apology. I was right. You were wrong. I'm smart. You're dumb. I'm big and you're little, and there's nothing you can do about it. So anyhow, listen, man, the guy is playing great football. You know what was really interesting? They were 0-2, and they were throwing the ball, Mike, almost 40 times a game, 37.5 times or 4 times a game. They have since in their 5-0 run. They've gone 5-0. In the last 3 games, they've put up over 30 points a game, and they have dropped in that 5-game winning streak. They've dropped from over 37 throws a game down to about 24 throws a game. They have run the ball exceptionally well, and they have created an opportunity to be very successful, both running the ball and setting up their play action and setting up their drop back game out of that run, off that run game. And let's face it, Flowers has excelled. We saw big throws to Mark Andrews yesterday. We saw a big throw over the top to Bateman yesterday for a touchdown. I mean, Lamar Jackson threw 5 touchdowns in that game against Tampa. The dude is lighting it up. The dude is lights out, and clearly a front runner for the MVP right now because he's playing that well. And to me, it all kind of boils down to they looked at themselves and said, who are we? What do we need to be? Throwing it 40 times a game is not what we're made of. It's not the way we're constructed. And I'm so happy to see them get back to what really, to me, wins in this game. They're historic, Mike. They have the biggest run differential of any, like the biggest rushing yardage differential of any team since Super Bowls were invented. They're averaging, I think, 140 plus more yards rushing than the opponents that they play against. It's incredible. This goes back, this is 58 years, Mike. This goes back. It's amazing.
Well, okay. And you make a very passionate case, but just to back up what I said, the idea that does playoff success perhaps play a role in this? I'm looking at all the 3-time or more MVPs in NFL history. I'll leave Jim Brown and Johnny Unitas off this list because we're talking about the modern Super Bowl era. But in the modern Super Bowl era,
Let me guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Three or more.
Three or more. Well, Peyton Manning has 5. Aaron Rodgers has 4.
Yep.
So Brett Favre has 3.
Yep. One more.
Brett Favre has 3. Ooh,
your guy, your boy, your boo.
My boo? Oh, Tom Brady's got 3.
He's got 3. So all those quarterbacks right there, when they won their 3rd MVP, they had already won a title. Lamar, now he could win an MVP this year and it would come in a Super Bowl winning season, but he'd make some history.
Yeah.
In terms of winning a 3rd MVP without, and we're not even talking about winning a Super Bowl. He hasn't been to a Super Bowl. What has he got? 1 playoff win?
He's got a couple.
Okay, but hasn't played in an AFC Championship game. I'm just throwing it out there. Okay.
I would go this far with them, regardless of what he does, and he's exceptional right now. But if the Ravens don't win the AFC Championship and go to the Super Bowl, that's like, what does it matter?
Right.
Like they're that good right now. And oh, by the way, Derrick Henry's on pace for 21 plus 100 yards. Does he get to be involved in the MVP? And does he get to be involved in the MVP race if he breaks the NFL rushing record? Or have we just made it a quarterback record like our quarterback award like we have the Heisman or the Heisman? Like, I hate that. I hate that because if he broke the NFL rushing record, shouldn't he be in the conversation?
Yeah.
I think he should.
Last one for you. The Patriots had an amazing run for 2 decades, but boy, it's getting bitter. The unraveling is getting bitter. So just a quick summary. Gerard Mayo, the new coach of the Patriots, came out after they lost in London to Jacksonville and said his team was soft. Mm-hmm. Bill Belichick went on the Pat McAfee show and said, hey, wait a minute. That's not true. I mean, these guys, they were all with me last year. I brought all these guys in. They weren't soft. They were number 1 against the run. That's a disservice to call them soft. Right. So what are we seeing here? Is this, you got the other part of the story is that, Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, has been accused of trying to make himself look more responsible for the Patriots' success, kind of diminishing Belichick's role in this. There's been talk that Gerard Mayo was Kraft's handpicked guy 5 years ago. Maybe there was some backstabbing going on with Mayo while he was still on Belichick's staff. What do you make of all this?
Drama, right?
Juicy.
Big time drama. Listen, you don't have to be soft, or you can not, you don't. To have a game where you play as a defensive unit soft does not mean you're soft players. It means you had a game where you got trucked. And at some point, frustration, everything boiled over, and you didn't play the standard that you normally play at. And if I'm honest, every guy that's ever played has had one of those games where he didn't play very well and you got physically manhandled. And so I've had those games, man. I've had those games where nothing seemed to work and where, you call it soft. And it's hurtful language. There's no question about it. But, I didn't hear him say my players are soft and this guy's soft and this guy, I heard him say we played soft. And that can happen. And that does occasionally happen. But there does feel like there's a little bit of tension between former coach. Well, here's what I'd like Gerard Mayo's response to be. Like, hey, man, our guys may have played soft, but at least we didn't take a former defensive coordinator, a former special teams coach, and make him our co-offensive coordinator and ruin a young quarterback's career.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just come back over the top with that.
That would, that'd be a good comeback. That would be.
That would be great.
All right. Well, that's some of the big storylines from another week in the NFL with another new one on tap. And who knows what stories are on tap for us to unfold. We'll break it all down later in the week.
I live in New York now, and I cannot wait to walk into, the next convenience store, grocery store I walk into and see as I'm checking out right there, Aaron Rodgers Booger Sugar.
No.
It's going to be a product.
You're
going to be a product, Mike.
You're nasty.
It's nasty.
It's so nasty.
Stop it.
Stop eating your boogers, will you?
No.
Stop it.
What are you, 6?
Bad look.
Crying out loud. Stop.
Yeah.
Hey, for everybody involved in the Stinkin Truth podcast, for Mike, I am Mark. We appreciate you guys, and we will be back with you later on the week where I continue to dominate Mike in our picks. It's just, I'm pummeling him. Anyhow, we'll talk about all that and more later on in the week on the Stinkin Truth podcast. Thank you.